Good afternoon, traders and investors. Will back here with another one. We've just had two nice little green days in a row put in on the indexes, and a lot of our major tech names have been able to recover since Thursday's disaster. So, are we going to capture these daily uptrends, or are the bears going to take over and send us into further weekly consolidation? That's what we're going to look into today, guys. The major indexes, our major tech names, and lastly, my portfolio. Quick little portfolio update for you guys. So make sure you stay tuned for that at the end of the video. This week, not too big of a week in terms of our economic headlines, so a bit of a light week. So we should be able to see the technicals play out in a nice fashion here without too much interference from large macroeconomic events. So looking at the week here, not too much in terms of earnings as well, guys. Tomorrow before the open, we do have NEO. For everybody that watches that, I used to play that a lot back in 2020, 2021, but not so much as of recently. Wednesday, the big ones to look out for though, CrowdStrike, gonna keep an eye on this one closely. And also Salesforce, another little big name here. And Thursday before the open, definitely want to keep an eye on Dollar General, guys. As you know, Dollar General got absolutely crushed, and it's one of the value names that I've been keeping a very close eye on since their last earnings miss. You can see that on the monthly, they don't lose these major moving averages very often, and they've been trading significantly below them now in the past 3 months. So I'm going to be very curious to see what is going to happen with Dollar General, and after hours, Lululemon is going to be crucial in terms of consumer sentiment and discretionary spending. So without further ado, guys, let's get into some charts here. So SPY 0.63% up on the day, QQQ 0.75, but we were going back either direction, pretty much a better part of the day and recovering nicely into the end. Let's look at the broad market here. As you can see, very decent day in terms of broad market, but no real outperformers, right? Everything was just kind of in line with the index movement, but you do like to see some broad market participation from our bulls, healthcare lagging a bit behind here. On terms of the one-day relative performance, you can see that all our major sectors were in the green here, which is very nice to see. And on the 1 week relative, right, since last Monday as well, we have maintained our green performance. So still on a slight upswing here for the bulls. It's going to be crucial to see if they can maintain this. Now, let's get into our major indexes right away, guys. So SPY on the daily, what are we doing? We're doing exactly what I was asking the bulls to do. After Thursday's massive drop and give back, can we potentially set the higher low and go for potentially the higher highs? So this is the bulls' attempt at reversing your daily uptrend. So we're going to keep a very close eye on this. Now back above the 12 EMA. First close pretty much since last Wednesday above our 12 EMA once again. A lot of people have been pointing out the head and shoulders, right? So clear head and shoulders pattern on the longer time frames here. We will see how that plays out. It's not excessively clean, but it is there on SPY and both QQQ. You can see that there is very decent little head and shoulders pattern playing out here, right? This would usually be a bearish pattern. It remains to see if they will complete that pattern or if the bulls will be able to negate that, set the daily uptrend, and continue to push higher, guys. So key level for me, guys, 445.10. If we can break 445.10 and close above, your daily uptrend will be recaptured by the bulls at that point, and you will have your weekly upswing in motion, right? Bulls still have a decent amount of work to do, however, to get back up to our most recent 52-week highs. But this is a good start, guys. It's a good start, but I'm not convinced yet, especially with how Friday's and today's trading was going. It kind of very strange days, right? You can see that we gapped up. The bears took it all back. The bulls pretty much took it in a 45-minute rally, and in 45 minutes, the bears took it right back before we grinded up higher. So there's really a battle going on here on the lower time frames. Remains to be seen. Can we set the daily uptrend? That is step number one. When we set the daily uptrend, then you have to see how much of this weekly move can we take back until this daily uptrend potentially fizzles out and reverses, right? So we will take this one step at a time, but I like the effort by the bulls. The only criticism that I have is that, once again, it's mostly led by technology, and financials and healthcare are not playing along. I would like to see them play along a bit more, but decent job by the bulls, guys. Here, still anybody's game, right? If we just reverse right here and crack these lows right down here at 435, well, the bears will recapture the daily downtrend and we will be pushed into another leg of weekly consolidation. QQQ, same principle. QQQ bulls not able to get as close up here. 373 is your key level, right? It can go either way at this point. I like the size of this bounce. Sets up nicely for the daily trend change, But now it's one or the other. If we break 373, your daily uptrend will be confirmed. We're nicely above our little moving averages right now, but barely. But if we crack 359, guys, the bears will recapture a daily downtrend here, which will let you know that your weekly downtrend is potentially starting. So crucial week for the bulls here to play defense and prove to us that they're through most of these most recent fears that we've been having in the market. Crucial week here. At least we don't have any big macroeconomic data. So we're going to be looking at the technicals, not big earnings either, right? So this should be a almost pure technical week unless we get some random event, right? Some comments from Fed members or stuff like that that could potentially interfere. XLF financials. I don't like the size of this bounce, guys. You see how much of QQQ? You see QQQ, how much of this bounce the technology bulls were able to take back? Look at financials, guys. Not able to take back enough. That's why, like, the most likely scenario for me, guys, it's a daily downtrend. We were always looking for a lower high. Anything below pretty much 35 was going to be your lower high. And now, can the bulls hold the 33.50 lows and set a potential new daily uptrend? Bulls have still not given back much here for consolidation. Still looking for that daily uptrend to continue here. So once this daily push fizzles out, can we set the daily uptrend and reverse and potentially save our weekly here? Because weekly is still looking quite decent, guys. Still acting as good support down here between the 33.90 and 33.50 area. This little green box right here. Anything above 32.50, still just looking for your weekly higher low. How will you know it's been set? Need to see the bulls set the daily uptrend. But so far, bounce is underway. I just need more size to give more space to give us that probability switch. XLV Healthcare here. XLV Healthcare trying their best to engulf most of the most recent leg down as of last Wednesday and Thursday, right? So daily downtrend was confirmed. This is the second leg down, and now the bulls have all but engulfed that move. Can they set the daily higher low above 132.41? This was the danger zone, right? We were approaching the danger zone, 132. Don't want to see us lose that level. So can the bulls reverse our daily uptrends here and provide more juice to the market, guys? So far, over the last week and a half, the technology bulls have been the one leading. And as you can see, our financials, if it pulls it up, financials and healthcare not looking as healthy as the tech bounce, right? So we need more participation from these sectors. I would like to see our XLV bulls get above 134.25 in the next few trading days, setting up enough space here to kind of get back into this tightening range, right? Setting as close as high as possible and really tighten this up, or at least at the best case scenario, right? Reverse this it's in between a range here, but reverse this to the upside, set a daily uptrend so we can kind of move into these higher levels around the 136. What are we looking for, guys? Still a weekly tightening range. So when this breaks, it should break pretty hard. I am expecting it to break bullish. I do have a bullish lean on this. Why? Only because the monthly time frame as well is in a bit of a monthly consolidation mode, monthly tightening range, and we're above our moving averages. So I do have to lean bullish here, but the healthcare bulls, crucial area to hold here. Don't want to see them come back towards the lower 132, guys. Need to see them hold this and reverse and start pushing towards our 136. IWM Russell, growth stocks, not able to push as well, guys. This, you could argue, is a weekly bear flag, right? The bulls not able to put up enough of a bounce here. So when you see after about 6 days of trading that they can barely take back any of this move, it's not giving me confidence, right? The bears are consolidating at the lower end of this move here. I need to see them push, right? At least they weren't able to really continue the daily downtrend too much before the bulls engulfed. Bulls doing a very good job in the last 2 days of engulfing this second leg of selling down here. So now I want to see them push as close as possible, potentially to 190. If they can push up to 190, creates enough space here to potentially reverse the daily uptrend. On the weekly, what are we looking for, guys? Still looking for a weekly higher low. Anything above 180.4 is going to be your weekly higher low. How do you know the weekly higher low is set? Well, when you get your confirmed daily uptrend, right? So we're keeping a close eye on that. I still, as I've been saying in past videos, don't like how much of this the bears have taken back. Could potentially lead up to a tightening range, just like healthcare. So we'll take it one day at a time, but bulls on growth looking very weak. And if we flush 181.76, then your daily downtrend simply just continues and your weekly consolidation potentially turns into a weekly downtrend at this point. Dow Jones. Dow Jones names putting up a decent amount of a fight, guys. You can see that a lot of these charts look the same with Friday and Monday's action today, especially after just a negative day on Thursday. So downtrend, right? The bears try to flush for new lows. They get the new lows, but after now in 2 days, the bulls have engulfed. So creating decent amount of space, guys, above this 34,000 level I was mentioning last week. Your 34,000 level is key. Why? Because it's a little range, right? 34 roughly up to all the way 34,600. This is the range that you're playing in right now in terms of your whole support range, right? I know I have a one single line here. I should probably change that to somewhat more of a channel, of box, right? As I do on my other charts. But that is what we're dealing with here, guys. Need to see the bulls put in a bit more of a bounce here and then create the space, reset the daily uptrend on the weekly. What have we been looking for? Well, just looking for the weekly higher lows, anything above 33,700, just going to be a weekly higher low for potential continuation of the upside, not losing our 34,000 key support. So bulls playing decent defense, but I need to see a little bit more from them. If we start pulling back here tomorrow and Wednesday already, well, then they're really going to need to make a big push on their next leg. They could set the daily uptrend like this, but I would much rather prefer that they engulf a bit more, set it up nicely. That way you'll have some higher probability for confirmation to the upside. Bitcoin doing absolutely nothing, guys. Absolutely nothing. Like, look at this lack of volatility here, right? So as a whole on Bitcoin doing absolutely nothing, the bulls have to start from scratch. Need to start a daily uptrend for us to even look at the weekly recovery at this point, guys. Now we are just stuck in this massive range of nothingness. It really sucks. Crypto not with a lot of volatility recently, not a lot of volume pouring into the space. You can see these volume bars here ever since pretty much April have been very, very, very low. So just not a lot of money in the space. Not going to spend too much time on this chart, guys. The bears are in full control of the daily at this point. The bulls have a lot of work to do, especially to get over these moving averages here. Now let's get into our major tech names. Apple putting in a decent little bounce here. Apple may be one of our next contenders here. The first one to do it was actually Tesla. I'll show you that later. So Apple, decent potential contender here to set the daily uptrend in motion. Anything above 181.37 will be daily uptrend confirmed, right? If we lose the lows here, 175.82, Thursday and Friday's low here, well, the bears will have set a new daily downtrend until we crack these highs. So in the next few days is crucial. Can Apple do it? Are they going to devolve into a potential tightening range and then break either way? Those are the questions that we need to be asking ourselves here. 175 to 168 pretty much is my sweet spot in the event we do continue to pull down here. I would like to see Apple bulls confirm the daily uptrend. That will let me know that our weekly bounce is underway. Then it's a question of how much of this bear move down can the weekly bulls take back, right? There's two scenarios. Either we can V-shape or they will have to set a new weekly uptrend here because this was a lot of space created here. It's going to be tough for the bulls to V-shape this. They can always do it, but they may have to two-step it. And the worst case scenario is you set your weekly lower high and then flush these lows for a weekly downtrend. That would be monthly consolidation. But as of now, we're going to give the bulls the benefit of the doubt because they do control the higher time frames here, still looking for the weekly higher low, right? So they can have a good continuation of the upside, or we can develop in a tightening range. Why are those the most likely scenarios? Because the bulls control the longer time frames. Even if we are pulling back on the monthly here, the monthly is still extremely bullish. So we're going to give the bulls the benefit of the doubt on these names. AMD still pulling back here. 102.61, green day on AMD, but still trapped in our little area here, guys. This is a very beautiful area for writing some puts, especially in the higher $90 range, but AMD bulls not able to capture back Thursday's move. Thursday's move after NVIDIA earnings was absolutely nasty, the reversal that we had, right? So a lot of work for the bulls to do at this point, guys. They're going to need to get as close as possible to 111 here, set up a daily trend change. But as of now, they are still trapped in a daily downtrend. So our most likely scenario, expecting the lower high, confluence here. 12 EMA, this yellow line here, acting as resistance, and our 107 support, which is now resistance, also acting as resistance. So most likely scenario is going to be this. So remains to be seen. Can the bulls put in enough of a bounce to reverse this. But we are in my sweet spot now. I like AMD. However, we are considering in a weekly downtrend here. And also on the monthly, this is monthly consolidation here, guys. So I'll remind you, anything above 82 is just looking for the monthly higher low, but getting into my sweet spot area, guys, anything below 100 is getting to be pretty juicy on AMD, considering all the good news that NVIDIA showed us last week about the state of the semiconductor industry for the next few years. Amazon bulls playing some decent defense here, refusing to flush Friday's lows, right? You can see the bears flushed our previous low, 131.16, but no follow through. We're not able to close below, right? So Amazon trying its best to potentially try and reverse this daily uptrend, still struggling with this area here. You guys can see these two yellow lines here. We are struggling with that. It's as resistance now. Used to be support area. Now we're in it as resistance. I should probably extend these a little bit. So let me just do that so you guys can see clearly what I'm talking about. So as you can see, it is acting as resistance. The moving averages as well are acting as resistance. What I need to see the bulls do? 136.70. Need to see the bulls get as close as that as possible or engulf it to set up for the daily trend change. But I like the fact that we haven't crushed our lows here. We are still in a daily downtrend at this point. It's just we haven't followed through here. If over the next few days we flush these lows 130, your daily downtrend simply continues as per usual, and we will still be in weekly consolidation. Anything above 126.60 is just looking for a weekly higher low. Bulls playing good defense, though, around this 12 EMA. So keep an eye out on Amazon. Amazon is trying. Not as good as Apple, but Amazon is trying. So let's go down to Google. Google also, bulls playing out fairly decently, guys. They're trying for the daily trend change. Definitely need to see a crack above 135 to make that daily trend change a reality. But playing some good defense here. Obviously, if we flush yesterday's low, the bears will have set a new daily downtrend, especially if they flush yesterday's low and last week's lows on Thursday, right? It will not be looking good here, right? Or sorry, Monday and Tuesday, right? Will not be looking good. That will be the bears once again proving that they want it more here. You do have nice support down here, right? But if we do crack these areas for any which reason, we are going down to our gap fill 124 area. Sweet spot on Google here for me, 120 all the way to 113. And conversely, if the bulls are able to reset this daily uptrend and crack these highs here, guys, your resistance areas on Google are set for around 145. That's the next area of resistance. What are we looking for on the weekly? Weekly is still just weekly consolidation. It's a tightening weekly range at this point. Failed breakout on both sides at this point. So we're just going to tighten up. It's good we're tightening up above our horizontal support here of 128. I like to see the bulls holding on to this. I think Google is positioned well here for the next 6, 12, 18, 24 months. Google, one of my favorite companies in the market right now in terms of technology. Still representing some good risk to reward here, guys, but I need to see the bulls prove the daily trend change here, just like they did on almost Apple, right? They're almost doing it on Apple. And I'll show you Tesla in a bit. Just keep an eye on Tesla. You'll see they're the first to do it, all right? Meta bulls as well. Same thing, trying for the daily trend change. Yeah, Friday's low did not flush our low last Friday pretty much, right? Or sorry, the Friday prior to that. So Meta bulls here still trying to put in somewhat of a double bottom here. It was a daily downtrend, clear daily downtrend. Now, lower high set, lack of follow through by the bears. Now the bulls have a turn in the last couple days. Nice little recovery here. Need to see Meta bulls get above 299. 299. If we can crack 299, your daily uptrend will be in effect. At that point, your weekly bounce as well will be underway, and the bulls will have saved themselves potentially some further downside in the short term. Now, after that, whether we V-shape or potentially set up a tightening range or the weekly downtrend will depend on how long this daily uptrend is able to last. If it only lasts for another leg, and then the bears reverse to a daily downtrend, then you'll know, unfortunately, you'll be in a weekly downtrend. That'll be monthly consolidation. So the next few days on these names are absolutely crucial. They have their daily bounces going. They're trying for the daily trend change. Will they be able to get it or not? That's the same thing that we're seeing on all of the indexes right now. Can SPY get the daily trend change? And if they do, how long will it last? Can QQQ get the daily trend change? And if they do, how long will it last, right? So all these names are shaping up exactly the same. I think personally it's going to be crucial to get healthcare and financials involved. If they don't get involved, guys, technology cannot continue to lift this market. Microsoft. Microsoft, same thing. Microsoft bulls putting in a very decent bounce, now trading above our 12 EMAs here. Microsoft also trying for the daily trend reversal, right? I like this engulfing move by Microsoft. Now we've set the higher low compared to our low here last 2 Fridays ago, right? Set the higher low. Now, can we crack Thursday's high? 333 is going to be crucial. Can we set the daily uptrend? If we do, how long does the daily uptrend last? And that's when you'll see how big of a weekly bounce can we get. Will we be able to set a new weekly uptrend, even though we're in a weekly uptrend, right? There's two possibilities. We either V-shape and the weekly trend continues, but if we make a lower high compared to our previous high, then the size of the bounce is key to determine whether we have to set a brand new weekly uptrend, a tightening range, or if we do something like this really low, can the bears flush for the weekly downtrend, which would be further monthly consolidation on these stocks. Microsoft key areas here for me, 308 all the way down to 285 is my sweet spot in that event. Next few days are absolutely crucial here. Tesla, our first bull to set the daily trend change. I did not like today's trading, however, though. We got a gap up open here, and then we kind of consolidated all day, right? So the hourly uptrend was recaptured. Now we're trying to set the hourly higher lows, and the bulls were not able to push that high in the end of the day. However, our daily higher low is set. We now have a higher high compared to last Tuesday, so your daily uptrend is in motion. Now, anything above pretty much 228.59 is just going to be for another daily higher low. Your daily uptrend is set here on Tesla. First one to do it, which means your weekly bounce is underway. How high can we get compared to 298 is going to be crucial. If we just reverse this right away and head to the downside, very possible you're in for a weekly downtrend if the bulls can't double bottom this and potentially save, or if not, we could get a tightening range if they're not able to V-shape this. So it all depends. How long can the bulls maintain this daily uptrend, and how high into this entire move are we going to get? But I like what Tesla bulls have done, guys. It's just I also took some of my calls off today on Tesla that I wrote on Friday. I took them off and I put them back on because my gut feeling, guys, I just do not trust this market without the broad market participation of healthcare, financials, and I'd like to see a bit more participation on growth stocks. You guys know IWM has not been performing either, so it's like only tech, and when it's only tech, guys, I tend to hesitate a little bit. That's why I'm not yet comfortable, even though I said when we get the Tesla daily uptrend confirmed, I'm taking off these calls. I just don't trust it, guys. I don't trust the rest of the market, and although Tesla is one of my favorite stocks in the world, I don't trust them to be able to keep going if the entire market does reverse into further weekly consolidation. But great job by the bulls. So let's see how long can they maintain this daily trend change. My sweet spot still down here, right? So still fairly close to it. And now Palantir and PayPal, then the account. Palantir right here, right? So Palantir trying to set up for the double bottom here. Didn't flush the 1370 low on last Thursday. Still trying to set up for the daily trend change here, but I will remind you, we also didn't break the highs. So 1585 didn't break it on Thursday. So what does that mean? Your daily downtrend is continuing here. At least the bulls are putting up some good defense in this whole range right here, but we are so close, guys. The weekly 1366 is right there. You flush 1366 here to the downside, especially since our bulls haven't really bounced too much after Thursday's down day, right? 13% down day. If we set up with another daily downtrend continuation here and lose 1366, it will be a weekly downtrend set at that point, guys. Actually, not a weekly downtrend. We never actually made a higher high on the weekly, so it'll just be weekly consolidation continuing. If you lose 1366, your weekly uptrend is lost at that point. Your bulls will have to restart everything from scratch to set a new one. If we do break that, guys, $12 is my sweet spot on Palantir. I'll put it up another green box on there for you guys in the next videos. PayPal here, PayPal doing decent. PayPal also trying to set the daily trend change. If we crack 62.35, we will get that daily trend change in motion. That's step number one. I like the size of this bounce compared to this down move here, right? So the size of bounce was crucial. It allowed me to say, okay, I'm pretty confident that PayPal is going to be able to go for the daily trend change. Now, will they get it or will they lose it? If we flush these most recent lows here, the 60.18, the the daily downtrend will resume at that point. That point will be going up for the weekly, right? So on the weekly right now, looking like your weekly bounce wants to get underway. I would like to see the bulls get all the way. If they do change this daily here, I would like to see them get all the way to 66, right? Not just because I'm assigned there, partially because I'm assigned there. But guys, 66 would put in a decent amount of space, even on the weekly, right? If you get back up to 66, that's pretty much half of this weekly move taken back. Sits up nice potentially for a weekly. Well, that's a bit too high. So 66 would be right around here. It would set up some decent amount of space here to potentially set up for a weekly trend change. Something exactly like this happened right here, right? So just using our previous history, but for now, Bull's doing a good job at playing defense here on PayPal. And the closer we get to this area, I will be able to write some covered calls. And so that's pretty much it for our stocks here today, guys. We're going to take a look at my portfolio because I haven't updated you guys in a while because there's been no trades, just been assigned positions, writing covered calls on Monday and Tuesday, and letting everything expire on Friday. So here's the performance here. As you can see, we are up to about 39% against the S&P. S&P is about 15%, so still outperforming the S&P fairly decently on the year. But with my worst day trading all year pretty much, and the last couple weeks of downside, right, has not been a very good 2.5, 3 weeks for me, if I do say so myself. But it's completely normal, guys. The market is volatile. And when I got trapped in those stocks, guys, I had to cut the loss. And if you see where the stocks were today, I did make a good decision because they're even lower than when I cut those losses. I'll remind you, SE and AA were the stock tickers for that. And on the not the Russell here, but the NASDAQ here, you can see that we are still outperforming the NASDAQ slightly, 39%, and the NASDAQ's trading around, 30.5, probably 31 after today's close. So still some outperformance, but my benchmark is really the S&P 500, guys. If we can continue outperforming the S&P 500 this much, well, then the strategy is worth it. And now let's get into the positions here real quick. So you can see, guys, that I still have Tesla covered calls on 227.5s for this Friday for about 11:36 here. Opened those this morning. I had the 245s, opened them Friday afternoon for about 290-ish. Closed them today around 220, so pocketed about $70 each way on the Tesla drop here today. I really didn't like, guys. I was so happy when I saw it open there. I was kind of kicking myself in the face for writing covered calls on Friday rather than waiting because I could have got a much better price if I would have waited till this morning. And then when they came back, I decided, you know what? Let me close those and let me protect myself if ever we do flush because the rest of the market, we're still, Tesla's the only one to have set the daily uptrend so far, right? So if ever all of our other names don't cooperate, guys, I'm not going to take that risk. I would rather leave my covered calls on for a few additional days and get more information. It's not going to cost me that much in terms of profit. Anyways, the BABA positions here, you can see that I was assigned about 2 weeks ago on BABA. Hold up, let me do this switch here. I was assigned on BABA 100 shares minus the initial puts that I got here for 59 cents. And I for 41 cents, from 90. So that's why my average cost is 89.59. You can see that after 2 weeks of covered calls here, right? So BABA, you can see them right here. I got $1.48 for them. This was Friday. This was a roll. So technically the average price on these is $1.40. I closed the other ones for 9 cents and I sold these again for $1.49. Roughly, so I got about $1.40 in premium from them. You can see that now my break even on BABA after it being assigned, so the put premium, last week's covered calls, and this week's covered calls, our break even is now 86.84 all the way down here. So we're currently up nicely on BABA. If they close up over above 90 this week, perfect. I may check if there's going to be additional premium for rolling them an extra week, but so far doing fairly decently, above $90 here. So BABA, decent premium on them so far, over $315 currently and counting. We'll see how long we can continue rolling these for, but I like this position a lot. So that's it for BABA. May get called away either this week or next week. I'll check on the premium on the roll. And the Nikes here, obviously Nikes we were assigned last week pretty much for the 101 strike here. So we did get about 55 cents on the puts that we wrote last week for the 101 strike. And then on the Nikes here, you can see that I do have some covered calls that I wrote today after the stock was up for a bit for roughly 50 cents. So my break even on Nike is actually 99.96 right now. And the stock is trading just under that, 99.63. So very, very decent here. I was able to bring my average cost down just over $1, you know what I mean? So that's pretty decent. 1% in 2 weeks essentially is what that means. I am looking for a little bit of an upswing on Nike. This is my sweet spot area, so I did take a little nibble. Only one contract though, didn't go too heavy. But if you guys calculate the value of all these positions, you'll see this is over $110,000 worth of positions, right? So although I haven't deployed all of my buying power, I do have a fair amount of plays on the table right now. And lastly, what we want to go over here is our CSIQs, right? So PayPal, no trade on them right away. You can see the covered calls expired last week. Our break even on PayPal now is approximately 66.12, right? Covered calls last week for about 47 cents. So our break even right here, you can see it on the screen, is around 66.12 right down here. We're going to wait for PayPal to come up a bit more for us to be able to write some covered calls in this juicy little area here, but some decent recovery here as well. And lastly, our CSIQ position here, right? So CSIQ, decent, this stock has been down a lot, right? Since we've got assigned at $35. Obviously, this earnings drop didn't help, even though it was a double beat, and the stock is literally trading for under price to book. So it's literally trading for under what the company is worth in terms of valuation metric. And you can see, guys, their metrics are super low. Look at the price to earnings ratio, right? Price to earnings, oops, you can't see it. So price to earnings ratio, guys, is 4.5. 4.5, right? So very, very, very low, very decent earnings, profitable company, right? You can see last year's revenue alone, not even on a forward basis, but this year should be pretty good too. On a forward basis, $7.5 billion of revenue, their market cap, $1.68 billion. So that's, quick math on that, guys, would be pretty much like, what is that, a price to sales ratio of like 0.3? 0.25, something like that. So very, very, very low valuation on CSIQ. I like this company. We are in current area of real big consolidation, right? So over the past couple, pretty much year, right? This has been an area that's usually held up the mid $25 range. I will average down on this stock if ever we get below $25. Have not done it so far, but you can see with the premium we've received writing covered calls down in the past few weeks, our break even from $35 assigned price is now down to $32.09. So I was able to get my break even down roughly 10%, but still, from my assigned cost, guys, we are down roughly 25%. So obviously I have to take this one on the chin. But if we do dip in the $25 range, guys, we are going to write additional puts. Average into this stock. I like this stock a lot. It's one of my favorite plays on solar. Look how oversold this RSI is on the daily as well. On the weekly, we're approaching oversold. It's not only are the numbers decent, in my opinion, in terms of valuation, the company is positioned well. They issued very decent guidance for the next few quarters and years. They are diversifying their business. I like this solar play. Why? Because it is the cheapest, not just on a share price basis, but valuation. It's the cheapest solar play that's profitable in the entire game. That's better than Enphase and better than Solar Edge in terms of in terms of how cheap it is on a valuation fundamental perspective, right? And also the share price, is fairly cheap in terms of off the all-time high percentage. So very happy on that, guys. CSIQ, I like this company a lot. Really not hesitating to hold this position at all, right? And the Estee Lauders, you guys didn't see, but I closed the covered calls at a profit, around $7 profit. So my break even now on this leap call right here is not 48.39. At this point, it's going to be pretty much 41.2 is going to be the actual break even. So we lowered our total break even here to about 180. It used to be 188, 140 plus 48. And now it's 140 plus roughly 41. Got rid of the covered calls last Friday because I did see that Estee Lauder was on a little bit of an upswing here. Upswing, decent little momentum to the upside. So I figured I'm going to let the bulls have a stab at this. If we can get up a bit around here in the maybe $160 range here after earnings here, because earnings were decent, right? We may be due for a weekly bounce. And that's what I'm kind of counting on here, is that the weekly is kind of oversold here. And that we may just get some mean reversion back into our moving averages up top here. So I'm going to ride this leap call up a bit higher. Obviously, massive weekly downtrend. We'll see, can the bulls put in enough space to eventually reverse this? But I wasn't willing to sit through earnings uncovered. That's why I had the covered calls on it. If you guys remember, they were the August 24 145 calls that I wrote roughly around $37 and closed them around $28, $29 last week here. So We are down here on Estee Lauder on the contracts as a whole, but this is not the true number. I was able to capture around $710, $715, so only really down 1,000 on those. So decent little cover up play from me, minimizing the risk and minimizing the loss with some covered calls. So guys, that's pretty much it for today's video here. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, consider liking the video. Consider subscribing to the channel if you're new. And as always, guys, if you have any questions, please ask me down in the comments. You guys know that I always answer them. If you have any questions on a particular stock you want me to look at, options plays or whatnot, always reach out to me. I'll be more than happy to answer, guys. So I'll see you guys tomorrow after the close. Happy trading. Hope you guys all had a beautiful day. I love you all. Take care. Have a great night. Peace.